Don't torture yourself, Gomez. That's my job. Hello, Starlets. I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to inspire you to be the star of your own life. So I'm very excited to bring you this masculine, feminine energy film breakdown. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I actually started this series last week. I broke down How to Marry a Millionaire, and we examined these sort of masculine, feminine energy dynamics, which I'll get into the details about that in a minute. Basically, I'm taking a popular film and we're going to break down the masculine, feminine energies in the film and basically show you some examples of masculine and feminine energies and the different archetypes within those energies. And initially I was planning on doing all like old Hollywood movies because they are my favorite, but I wanted to kind of, I don't know, mix it up with some what I would consider new Hollywood classics. Although some of the movies that I would consider new Hollywood, there's probably people watching YouTube right now that would consider them old Hollywood. I'm older than most people on YouTube, but that's beside the point. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the Addams Family. Probably because it's a fun movie. It's got some great examples of masculine and feminine energies. And also because I wanted to kind of do like a Halloween themed video. And to be honest with you, I don't watch scary movies. I can't do scary movies. I can't do horror films, anything. I just can't. I can't do it. So the Addams Family is kind of my go-to Halloween movie because it's like the only one that I can actually stand. It's got dark humor, which I like, but it's not really anything like scary. So we'll be talking about the Addams Family as far as masculine and feminine energies. If you want to know what I mean by masculine and feminine energies, I can link some videos where I describe it more. Brief overview: masculine and feminine energies are energies that are within all of us. We all have both, but we all have a core energy. So we are either like primarily masculine at our core or feminine at our core. That may or may not coincide with our gender. It often does, but it doesn't always. And this movie is actually a really great example of times when it doesn't. But because we have all these energies within us, we are able to tap into those whenever we need to, which this movie is actually a really good example of that as well. There's also archetypes. There's feminine archetypes and masculine archetypes. We all have those archetypes within us, but we sort of embody certain archetypes more naturally than others, and the ones that we shift into can very often change throughout our life, even throughout the day, depending on the circumstances. Now, the Addams Family they're iconic characters. They've been around since long before I was around. There was a TV show, and I'm not as familiar with the TV show. I mean, I wasn't around when the TV show was on, but when it was in reruns and stuff, I've seen it here and there, but not a lot. When the original movie came out, it was, I think I looked it up, and it was 1991. So I think I was 12 when the movie came out. So it was kind of like, it was targeted right at my age range. So I was like totally into this movie. For me personally, it's like the iconic view I have of the Addams Family. They did do a sequel to that movie, which I did see, but I don't remember it as much, and I don't tend to go back and watch it. And then I know that I feel like when I was doing research for this movie, I found out that they had done like a newer animated version, I guess. I'm not as familiar with that, but I'm not really that familiar with like the stuff that's coming out now. So I'm focused on the original Addams Family feature film. And for the sake of this video, because there is so many like juicy topics in here, I'm going to focus primarily on the relationship between Gomez and Morticia, because it really is kind of like the central theme of the Addams Family. And obviously there's like other side characters here and there, but like that is going to be the main focus, because I do think that there's like a lot of really kind of juicy masculine and feminine stuff going on in their relationship. And I'm gonna take out the kooky spooky stuff in the movie. I'm gonna like just focus on their relationship. Without all kind of the extra kind of like weirdness that makes us love them. They are such a great example, Morticia and Gomez, of when the man is truly, I believe, truly feminine at his core, and the woman is truly masculine at her core. I know some of you might not like me calling Morticia masculine, but hear me out, bear with me, right? Now, the idea is that your core energy tends to be the energy that you feel the most at home in. It tends to be like your true self. And you can, if you are a healthy individual, usually shift into other energies when needed. But like, if you're a feminine core being in your feminine is gonna be the most yourself. If you're a masculine core being in your masculine is most yourself. And it's hard to know if somebody, you know, without like really getting to know them, if the energy that they're showing you is their core energy or not. But usually if somebody is spending too much time outside of their core energy, and they don't feel like they can go into that core energy because of the circumstances or because their partner is embodying that energy or something. It tends to show up sometimes wounded, or there tends to be a lot of resentment that builds up, or it tends to be stress. Sometimes it can actually cause physical ailments. That's usually a sign that somebody is not fully embodying their natural core energy. Gomez and Morticia seem to, even though they kind of, again, they kind of play on the idea of like,
unhappy, darling.
Oh, yes. Yes, completely.
The idea that they're unhappy and miserable, but they actually seem to be really content with each other. Like, they seem to be very well matched, and they seem to be very connected, and they both seem to be very comfortable in the energy that they are embodying. So that is why I believe that their energies that they are in are their core energies. Now, one of the keys, and this isn't always the case, but it's very often the case, to find out which person in the couple is embodying the feminine energy or the masculine energy, it's usually true, most of the time, that the feminine energy moves more and the masculine energy is more still, generally speaking. Because the feminine is always in flow. Like, it's in flow with life. It wants to move. It wants to dance. The masculine tends to only move when there's a reason, when there's a purpose, when there's direction. You know, it's not necessarily like improvised and all over the place. It tends to have a lot more stillness, a lot more presence. And if you notice in the Gomez-Morticia dynamic, Gomez is like always moving. He's all over the place. He's moving. He's flowing with life. He's enjoying life. Everything is it's in flow. Morticia is very still. She's in her stillness. She's very grounded. And that's usually evidence that she would be the masculine partner and he would be the feminine partner. So I'm going to break down each one of them individually. Now again, Gomez is moving all the time. He's in flow. He's definitely embodying the lover archetype. The lover archetype is actually, now there's feminine archetypes and masculine archetypes. The lover is actually found in both the masculine and the feminine. But in the context of the masculine, the lover archetype is the most feminine of all the masculine archetypes. So when that becomes the most overriding aspect of masculine energy, it tends to shift to feminine energy. And the lover archetype it's not just about sexuality, but that's often a part of it, and it clearly is with Gomez. It's about sensuality, it's about joy, it's about pleasure, it's about sort of just like enjoying all of the things that life has to offer, and connecting to your senses, which he is very much in tune to. He's also very much about family. You know, he's longing for his long lost brother. He's longing for family and connection, which is very much a feminine energy. Not that masculine people can't feel that way, but that generally represents a more feminine energy. I think he also has some of the maiden energy, which we actually discussed in my How to Marry a Millionaire video. The maiden energy, as far as the feminine energy goes, tends to be the very sort of like childlike, playful, open to life, excited, and in a lot of ways, Gomez has that very kind of like wide-eyed, innocent, taking it all in kind of energy, like taking in life. So I do think he has a little bit of the maiden energy. And even at the beginning of the movie when he's sword fighting, which is traditionally a more masculine warrior type activity, he's doing it not from like a purpose or a direction or like a competitive, focused kind of way. It's a very like, he's playing a game, he's playful, he doesn't really care who wins or loses, because it's like, you know, 2 out of 3, we're gonna do it again. Like, he's got that very kind of like childlike playfulness that you very much find more in feminine energy. Now let's get to Morticia. Now, I feel like some of you might be like, are you seriously telling me that Morticia is masculine? I'm not saying she's masculine per se, but I do feel like she embodies the masculine energy of the relationship. Her image, her look is actually highly feminine. You know, she's got that sort of you know, the hourglass figure and you know, the red lip. I'm trying to honor her with the red lip. I don't have black hair and I can't do a center part. It just doesn't work for me. Some people can pull it off. I can't do a center part. So she does have a very feminine look to her. And I do think that there are some aspects of her personality that have a very mother energy, which is one of the feminine archetypes. She is very nurturing to her family. So she does have some of that energy, but when she's with Gomez, she has a very a stillness, a groundedness, a presence. She's very in control of her emotions. Openly expressing emotions is a very feminine energy, which Gomez does a lot, whereas Morticia is she's in control of her emotions. She's not expressing everything. Things are not bubbling to the surface. Everything is it's controlled, it's careful. That is a very masculine energy. And she seems very comfortable in it. And I think she's such a great example of how a female can embody a masculine energy, whether it's her core or not, but can embody the masculine energy, but not feel like it has to be, I mean, it can be, but it doesn't have to be macho. It doesn't have to be manly. It doesn't have to be like, I'm turning into a man. It doesn't have to be like, I need to be tough or competitive or tear people down, or like, it doesn't have to be any of those things. It can just mean that she like embodies a very grounded presence. If you notice, Morticia is always sort of admiring Gomez. Gomez is kind of, he's all over the place, he's in flow, and Morticia is always, she's always observing him. She's always fascinated by him, which is very much the masculine tends to be present with and observe the feminine. That's kind of the dynamic, and they have that very masculine feminine dynamic between the two of them. She's also very protective of him. That protective energy tends to be very much a masculine energy. She is not very trusting of people when they are new and come into their life, whereas Gomez is very trusting, trusts everybody, but she is much more cautious. She's much more protective. She wants to make sure that her family and her husband doesn't get hurt. So she's kind of being that protective energy in the family. So one of the reasons why I love this movie was because I really think it's such a great example of that exception that I feel like people always mention in the masculine feminine energy world, where you can have a core energy that is different from what is traditional. You know, it can be kind of opposite. You can be, you know, a woman and be masculine at your core, and you can be a man and be feminine at your core. And all it means is you want to find someone who is the opposite energy, because masculine and feminine energies create polarity. Masculine and feminine energies attract sexually. Masculine and masculine repel sexually, feminine and feminine repel sexually. So in any relationship of any gender, you need a partner to be in their masculine and you need a partner to be in their feminine. If you do feel like you are, say, a woman with a masculine core or a man with a feminine core, it just means that ideally you need to find a partner, if you're going to have sexual chemistry, that is in the opposite energy. And Morticia and Gomez seem to have found that in each other. Now, another reason why I really like this movie is because it's also a really good example of times when people shift out of their core energy when the situation is needed, which is very healthy. It's just a matter of if they're able to switch back and that they don't spend too much time in the energy that is not their natural energy, because it's going to really start to drain them. With Morticia, it's less dramatic. There's a couple times when she kind of lets her emotions bubble up, usually when she gets like really turned on by Gomez and she kind of starts to let herself go and let her sort of, I don't know, sexual pleasures express themselves.
25.
30.
35! Eres divina.
50.
I have $50,000.
Your turn, my ecstasy.
50,000 going once, 50,000 going twice. Sold to Morticia Addams for $50,000.
And also, when she's being tortured, and she kind of lets out that kind of like reaction to being tortured, kind of like that, like, ooh, like that turn on thing.
Tighter.
You've done this before.
That's pure feminine energy right there. Like, that's like she's submissive and she's letting go. Feminine energy tends to be the more submissive energy, and that's actually really common for really anyone who keeps their emotions very controlled. They tend to get really into more dominant submissive activities, because becoming a submissive allows them that opportunity to sort of just like let go and release their emotions. Because whether you're masculine cored and you naturally are very good at controlling your emotions, or whether you're feminine cored but you feel like you have to control your emotions for some reason, either way, like as humans, we need to release our emotions. So that's why very often people who spend a lot of time in their masculine controlling their emotions, even if that's very natural for them, at some point they're going to kind of need to let those out in some way. Now with Gomez, the times that he transitions into his masculine are much more dramatic, which may be because he's so dramatically in his feminine energy. There's two main times in the film when he actually really taps into his masculine energy. The first time is actually when his daughter Wednesday is missing, and you can even see it in his mannerisms. He goes from, you know, kind of that always moving around, wide-eyed, open to the world kind of energy to there's much more stillness, there's focus. He's not moving everywhere. He is just like, he has a mission and he has a purpose, which is all very masculine energy. And it's like, he's gonna get his daughter back, which he like shifts into protective dad mode. It's like, and he's giving people orders and has everything all mapped out with like military precision. Like he is like, this is what I'm doing, I'm protecting my family, and, you know, I'm focused.
Have you seen your sister?
Not since before the mamushka.
Gomez.
Fan out. Pugsley, head for the dung heap. Mama and Morticia, the shallow graves. I'll take the abyss. Lurch, check out the bottomless pit. Fester.
Up here!
Fester, you take the ravine and the unmarked abandoned well.
Someone should stay behind in case she comes back.
Good man. Good thinking.
Then who'll take the swamp?
That's the spirit thing. Lend a hand. Let's go.
That's a big shift for him, and that's a really, I feel like it's such a dramatic shift where you can really see when feminine energy then shifts into masculine energy, because that's what the occasion calls for. And it's really beautiful how he gets to do that, but then he gets to shift back into his original energy, because that's very healthy to be able to shift back and forth. It's just a matter of, you know, you need to spend the majority of your time in the energy that really is who you truly are. The second time we see it is actually when he needs to rescue Morticia, and you even notice it, like he becomes very determined. But if you notice the sword fight scene at the end of the film, as opposed to the beginning of the film, at the end of the film, he's much more determined. He is like, I'm getting my wife back, I'm protecting my family, I'm going after this. He's moving with much more precision, much more purpose. There's not as many extra movements. It's not as playful. He's sword fighting in that way that you anticipate like a warrior to be fighting, which is very much embodying that warrior energy, which is the warrior archetype is an archetype of the masculine. It's also of the feminine, but in this case, he's shifted much more into his masculine energy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I really enjoyed doing this breakdown because I feel like this was so many great examples, and it is such kind of like I mean, it's kooky. It's a kooky film, right? But it had so many great examples of masculine, feminine energy. And one of the reasons why I love these movie breakdowns is because I feel like, again, movies tend to be very stereotypical and they tend to be very over the top. And I feel like when you see examples of these energies in this sort of like very stereotypical, very over the top way, it can actually help you learn to identify them in your everyday life. So the ones that you're embodying and the ones that people around you are embodying. And it's not necessarily to say that you need to be in one energy or you need to be in another, you need to be a certain archetype or not. I just think being aware of what energy you're embodying and being aware of what archetype you're in and the ones that are available to you, I think that can be truly empowering. So I would actually encourage you to, after watching this, to actually go and watch the film. I know Halloween's coming up, and it's a fun, I think it's a fun Halloween film to watch. And watch it and just try to like see if you can pick out some of the things that I was mentioning. And I know these are really iconic characters that people take very seriously, so if I said anything about them that you didn't like, I mean, I'm not really sorry, but like I'm open to your opinions or anything like that. That's fine. I mean, I do agree that like Morticia really is, her look is kind of, to me, like the embodiment of kind of like a very dark feminine energy. But again, she is an example of a woman who can be very feminine in look, but can embody a masculine energy. It can happen. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, comment below any of your thoughts, and also if you have any movies that you would like to request. Again, I mostly want to do old Hollywood films, but I am open to like newer Hollywood classics. Anything that's like super current right now, I'm probably not going to be familiar with, although I am open to suggestions. If you want me to talk about TV shows or anything, suggest them, definitely. If it's not a whole TV series that I've already seen, I probably won't invest the time to watch a whole TV series. But if it is one that I've already seen, that I'm already familiar with, I'm more than happy to do that. So I'm always open to your suggestions. You know, questions, comments, anything nice. I'm open to, so just leave a comment. If you want to follow me on social media, all my handles will be in the description box. I'm mostly on Instagram, so you can follow me there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you join me next time.